Syed Muhammad Ali. He is a widely published author and a scholar and serves as a senior advisor to several ministries in the government of Pakistan. He joins me now live from Islamabad. So as Zahir was saying that military installations have been attacked, houses of corps commanders have been ransacked. Certainly these are unprecedented scenes. We have never seen something like this happen in Pakistan before, where protesters get into direct confrontation with the military. So what could be the possible implications of this?
Thank you very much. I agree with you. This is very unfortunate that a political party sent its workers to ransack and attack military installations. But there's a method to the madness. And if you look at the 75-year-old history of Pakistan, there have been a number of government changes, but no government, no political party has attempted to directly send its rank and file and its followers to attack the military installations. So this is exactly why the military issued a very strongly worded, stern warning today that its patience is wearing thin, and no further violation of law and order will be acceptable and will be dealt with sternly. But if you see all these developments in a context, why it is going on and what is the likely course in the days to come. Basically, in a nutshell, last year when Mr. Imran Khan's party unilaterally resigned from the National Assembly, basically their entire effort has been aimed at mobilizing the people in the streets and using the media, and particularly the social media, to rally support against the incoming government and also military in order to force an early elections. But what has happened is basically Imran Khan and PTI underestimated the resolve of the successor government and also overestimated its own ability to force the military into supporting it. So both things haven't happened. What has happened is the government has stuck its heels really strongly, and they're determined to carry on and complete its term despite the coercion. Secondly, military is also showing no willingness or sympathy. In fact, today's statement is perhaps the most sternly worded statement I have seen in 20 years.
Exactly, and so the military has basically said we will not allow anyone to take the law into their hands. That was the statement that was issued by the media wing of Pakistan's military. Now, according to one poll that was conducted by Gallup back in February of this year, Imran Khan's approval ratings sit somewhere around 61%. And many experts would argue that he is by far the most popular politician within the country. So could this be one of the major factors for the protesters to continue their protest out on the streets?
I agree with you. Definitely, Mr. Imran Khan is a charismatic leader and he has a large following. However, the type of politics that he has carried out is perhaps not considered lawful, constitutional, and according to the political rules of the games. So that is where the method to the madness lies, because there are cases against him and his leadership, which similarly other political parties and leaders have earlier also faced. And as is the norm, because once any cases are filed against you, it is expected that you are given the right to defend yourself before the court of law through your lawyers. And then if they allow you to be released, that's fine. But if you, instead of appearing before the court, you bring mobs to attack the court and do not appear before the judges, you resort to popular politics, then actually it is not your popularity. Number one, in the last 24 hours, the main and the key leaders of the PTI party have been arrested on several charges. Mr. Imran Khan, the Secretary General, Mr. Asad Umar, and also Mr. Shah Mahmood Qureshi, who was the former Foreign Minister of Pakistan. These three leaders have been arrested. And secondly, we see a number of PTI activists resorting to violence and disruption and attacks on government properties. And the third aspect is that the government has shown stern commitment that they will not accept this behavior. So what we expect from Prime Minister in tonight's address to the nation is a clear warning to all those elements who take law into their own hand, that they will be dealt with according to law and sternly, number one. Number two, politics of disruption will not be accepted.
Right.
And number three, that whatever disputes and issues there are must be lawfully and constitutionally.
Right, Mr. Ali,
and
if I may, a crucial question here. I understand what are the cases against Imran Khan. I understand that according to the verdict of the court, he must be arrested. But how is the Pakistani government going to convince the supporters of Imran Khan who are out on the streets that their leader is corrupted? Because believe it or not, they're not buying that.
And that's true, because his popularity is a reality. But what the government and different state institutions are trying to convince the general public is that its popularity is not a solution to the current challenges that the country faces, whether it is rising inflation or unemployment or political instability. The solution to all these problems is responsible statecraft based on finding realistic solutions to difficult challenges, rather than resorting to mob attacks on government properties and provocative statements which basically incite violence against the government and army. So that is what is the message which is likely to be from both military and the government. There are challenges, there are problems, but the solution is not in violence, but peaceful and mature and responsible policy.
Right, but if you can expand on the solution, don't you think a solution would be elections at this point?
Since you've asked a specific question, let me briefly give you three examples in the last 1 year's history of Pakistan. One is the foreign policy, the second is economic policy, and third is the political and counterterrorism aspect. What PTI and Imran Khan has done is issued very irresponsible statements and allegations against the United States and Western countries that it was their conspiracy which took him out of power. Now, this damaged our relations with the Western countries, particularly because our biggest export market is the US, and they have significant influence in IMF and World Bank as well, on which Pakistan depends if it requires and expects some economic relief, number one. Secondly is the economy itself, that if Pakistan wants to expand its tax net and expand its exports, then mere street politics is not going to change that. Let's work on it and bring the big guns into tax net rather than just doing street politics. The third aspect, which is very critical, is the revival of terrorism in Pakistan. And the province in which PTI government enjoyed uninterrupted rule almost for a decade was the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And it is that province which has offered the greatest number of sacrifices. Almost 80,000 people have lost their lives in the war on terror against TTP. And now this government allowed these terrorists to return and regain their power and influence. And now the army has to fight them again by sacrificing their blood and lives. Now, this is something which is seen with a lot of concern, not just by army, but also the current government, that why Imran Khan is being sympathetic and tolerant to the terrorists who have destroyed Pakistan's economy, who have killed over 80,000 men. And secondly, they are damaging our foreign policy with the international community and not doing anything tangible to address and repair the economy. All that they are doing is just doing emotional street politics and mob incitation that is not going to save the country's economy, that is not going to help the poor people, that is not going to address inflation, that is not going to improve the employment of that. So these are hard facts which unfortunately are not popular realities of street politics, but need to be dealt with seriously, responsibly, and maturely.
All right, Mr. Syed Muhammad Ali, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World. Really appreciate your taking out the time.